Right, some bird boxes being put up today. We have Mike with us, an expert on birds.
Yeah, expert, love it. So we've got 3 different size holes. Small ones 25mm, exclusively blue tit.
Right.
Nothing else can get in there. 28mm, bit bigger. Blue tit can use it. Great tit can get in there as well.
Okay.
And these are 32mm holes, which the blue tit, great tit can get into. But if we were really lucky, we might get a nuthatch in one of these, which is a beautiful bird.
Right.
Don't see them very often, but every now and again you do get one.
So we're in early springtime now. Is this a good time to put up bird boxes?
It's absolutely the right time to do it. We're very early spring. I've got lots of bird boxes locally, and this is the time of year when they're pairing up and starting to find a home.
Okay, and the actual bird box themselves, you mentioned a minute ago that you have to keep them separated by some distance. Does that matter what different distance?
Not really, no. The thing is that each one of these could have a pair in. They could have clutches of eggs anywhere in the region of 8, 9, 10 plus.
Right.
If they all hatch, there's a lot of mouths to feed there, and if you put them too close, they've got to find food for these, and that's the reason why you tend to put them at a reasonable distance apart.
Okay.
Just so that when they're foraging for food in May, possibly as late as early June, you don't want too much competition in a close area.
Right, and you did mention a minute ago that it doesn't matter so much about the height of the boxes. So we can go what, 2 meters, 1.5 meters above the ground, or
we're fine because we don't have worries of predation from cats here.
right?
If you're putting them up in your garden at home and you've got cats locally, as most people do, you want to be pretty high. You want to stop cats getting to them.
Okay.
But because we don't have that here, in fact, probably the only thing we might have to fear here would be woodpeckers, maybe a predatory bird. Unlikely. The only other thing would be weasels. It doesn't matter what height you put them, weasels will get to them. So we're going to be putting them up today around about 1.5 to 2 meters. But if you're putting them up at home, you really want them 2 meters plus to keep cats away.
Fantastic. And so we're not using these screws you mentioned here. It's going to be all put up by wire, so we actually tie them in.
We're going to wire them again because we're putting them on trees. We're simply going to put a loop of wire coming through the 2 holes on the outside and tying it off at the back, and that gives us the ability to loosen that wire off on an annual basis as the trees grow.
Perfect. All right, Mike, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready to put the first one up.
Okay, so simple piece of wire, garden wire, heavy duty, through the 2 holes, round the back, 2 towels. We're going to put the first one up here. You don't need to be too fussy, the birds will find it. If they want it, they'll use it.
Do you want me to hold the box for you?
That'd be fine, but you do want it fairly straight. So you get to the back, tie it off roughly, and then the box will fall. It'll find its own way, and as you can see, that's
Brilliant.
That's reasonably stable. That's also a nice site for you because you've not got to worry about predation from cats. You can have a look in there every now and again.
Excellent. It's much
see
easier.
What's going on.
And does it matter which direction this faces?
No. Some people tell you it will, but actually, if you suffer from an area where you've got high winds and it comes from a particular area, then yeah, you don't want necessarily the hole to go against the prevailing wind. But other than that, it doesn't matter. In the wild, they're not fussy. They go wherever there's a suitable crevice for them to go into.
And this wire here you mentioned is just to protect the box itself.
Yeah, this I've done because, as you know, I look after a lot of boxes on a local golf course. We've got 40 on there. On there, the great spotted woodpeckers actually found that there was an absolute bounty of food in May by breaking into these boxes.
Right.
So we started armouring them with this wire. Since we've done it, we've never had a problem. You might not have that problem here. They might not have worked out how to do it, but as the boxes are ready with the wire on, that's why we're doing it. But yeah, it's purely to protect them against greater spotted woodpeckers.
And then this plate here, that's purely so the hole doesn't get any larger, is it? That's basically so no other birds or...
Woodpeckers again. Woodpeckers initially found their way into these boxes by making this hole larger and going in the front. And then when we started putting the plates on the front, they worked out they could actually just drill holes in the side or the bottom
Right.
and peck them out. So that's why we do that. But yeah, that's pretty foolproof. Nothing's going to get to them in there.
Superb. Thank you very much.
Right.
Just one more question, Mike.
Yep.
What birds can we expect to see that will be using these boxes, these nest boxes?
Primarily blue tit and great tit.
Right.
The majority of them would be taken up by that, and as I said earlier, if we were really lucky, we could possibly get a nuthatch in one of them.
Right.
Not very often. Very rarely you can get wrens in them as well.
Right.
But in all the years I've been putting up nest boxes, I've only ever seen 2 wrens in boxes, and we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of boxes, probably thousands.
Okay.
So it's really unlikely. So primarily blue tit and great tit.
And the trees we put them on. Oh, this is an ash, and we put them. Oh, this is a willow, and we put them on some crabapple trees and also some hawthorn trees. It doesn't really matter which trees you put it on, but you did mention there was a pine needle tree that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what tree you put them on.
Yeah.
All this is somewhere for the birds to nest, but ideally you want somewhere where there's going to be an abundance of food for the birds,
Right.
or for the adults to feed the chicks. And ideally for that you want oak trees.
Right. Okay.
So there's not a huge abundance of oak trees here. We're only hanging these, but we do know that there are oak trees on the periphery which they
Yep.
can easily get to. The reason for that is because they're looking for a particular type of moth that generally hatches at about the same time that the chicks hatch.
Okay.
And they're going to be up in the trees looking for the caterpillars from those moths, and that's why oak tree is brilliant. But they will find food wherever they need to. We've had lots of boxes in places where there are no oak trees at all, and they've successfully managed to raise broods of anything around the sort of 10 mark, and successfully fledged. So
Perfect.
ideally oak, but it's not necessary.
And then we have seen some older nest boxes here.
Yeah.
About half the size of these particular nest boxes,
Yeah.
but you did mention that this size is kind of the minimum size you want to put up. Anything smaller than this, the birds will tend not to use it because there's not enough space in them.
They either won't use it, or if they do use it, the problem is that if you've got a brood of 8, 9, 10, you can imagine by the time they get to a stage where they fledge,
Yep.
they're almost adult size. It's too many
Right.
for a box smaller than that. That's
Okay.
about as small as you would want to be.
Okay, brilliant.